Okay, I'd like to call to order the Concord Township Council regular meeting for Tuesday, July 1st. If we could please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the privilege tonight of honoring some local heroes who went into action, as they always do, on behalf of the residents of Concord Township. They are members of the Concordville Fire and Protective Association. And Vanita, I think we have a resolution recognizing them and their accomplishments.
Thank you,
I'm going to hand it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. This certificate is in recognizing Concordville Fire and Protective Association crew members Joseph Hudima, Timothy Green, James O'Hara, Joshua May, Christopher Zacher, Alexa DiNicola, and Stephen Siska. Whereas firefighters and emergency medical technicians serve as our first line of defense in emergencies, answering the call with courage, skill, and selfless dedication to the safety of others. And whereas on Saturday morning, June 28th, 2025, at 1:12 a.m., the Concordville Fire Company and mutual aid companies were dispatched to a structure fire on Patriot Lane in Concord Township, where a two-story single-family home was found to be heavily engulfed in flames on the second floor and attic. And whereas the crew from Concordville's engine arrived on scene within 5 minutes of dispatch and quickly learned that a resident had not yet exited the building. And whereas under the leadership of Lieutenant Joseph Hudima, firefighters Timothy Green, James O'Hara, Joshua May, and Christopher Zacher courageously entered the burning structure, conducted a rapid search, and located the resident who was still asleep on the second floor, and safely led him out of the building without injury. And whereas their quick response, teamwork, and heroic actions directly resulted in the saving of a life under dangerous and rapidly deteriorating conditions. Now, therefore, the Council of Concord Township does hereby recognize and commend the bravery, professionalism, and life-saving effort of Lieutenant Joseph Hudima, firefighters Timothy Green, firefighter James O'Hara, firefighter Joshua May, firefighter Christopher Zacher, EMT Alexa DiNicola, and EMT Stephen Siska, and thanks them for their extraordinary service and unwavering commitment to protecting the lives of others.
And that is in the form of a motion, I assume, Vanita?
Yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I think Bob, our fire marshal, did you have any comments you wanted to make regarding this? Or any other additional observations? There you go.
All right. I've always been proud to be a member of Concordville Fire Company. It's been 50 years plus. Very, very often we go in and have to take somebody out of a building. We don't have the luck of walking them out of the building. This team, in conjunction with the ambulance crew that was on location within 5 minutes of this incident, went in, found this individual, actually woke him up, right, and got him out of that building. And that doesn't happen as well as, or as often as we would like. I've never been prouder than I was that morning. I've always been proud of Concordville Fire Company, but this crew did an excellent job, and they deserve this recognition.
Guys, we'd be honored if we could get a picture with you, and I think what we're going to do, Mr. Crossan had a great suggestion. We're going to stand back here so you guys can get in front. I think we can get everybody in. go down because you presented it. There you go. Okay, thank you for coming out this evening. Moving right along with the agenda, we have a proclamation that Mr. Crossan is going to handle. John, you're up.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. This is a proclamation recognizing Parks and Recreation Month for July of 2025. Whereas the U.S. House of Representatives has designated July as Parks and Recreation Month, and whereas the Concord Township Council, Delaware County, understands the importance of parks and recreation in our community and has preserved over 300 acres of open space for our residents to enjoy, and whereas our parks, trails, open spaces, and natural recreation areas ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature and recreate outdoors, and whereas Parks and Recreation encourages physical activities and promotes active lifestyles, and our parks and recreational opportunities are vitally important to establishing and maintaining a wonderful quality of life in our community, ensuring the health of all citizens and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of our municipality and the region. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Concord Township Council does hereby proclaim July 2025 as Parks and Recreation Month and recognizes the outstanding work led by our Township Parks and Rec Director, our staff, and Park and Recreation board members, and encourages our residents to visit our beautiful parks, including the upcoming grand opening of the Beaver Valley Neighborhood Park, and to take advantage of our many recreational opportunities and offerings. So moved, Mr. President.
That's a form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I see our Park and Recs directors here, and thank you for all your good work. And I went over to the farmer's market the other day, and I was rather impressed. It was actually pretty cool. So, okay. One, good. Upcoming meetings and events. July 3rd, Park and Rec Board meeting. July 4th, the holiday is official that day, and the offices will be closed. July 9th, Historical Commission meeting. July 10th, speaking of events and parks, Patriotic Pet Parade and Ice Cream Social at 6 p.m. I assume that's at the Smithbridge Road Park. July 10th, Concert in the Park, the Rose Tree Pops, same location. July 12th, Music in the Park, Miss Brooks at 10 a.m. July 13th, Pie Baking Contest, 1 p.m. July 14th, Planning Commission Agenda Meeting. July 16th, Yoga in the Park, 6 p.m. July 16th, Zoning Hearing Board. July 19th, Miss Brooks, again, Music in the Park at 10 a.m. July 21st, Planning Commission meeting, and July 29th, Council Agenda meeting if needed. There's more information on any of these on the websites regarding locations, and I guess if there's any rain delays or rain cancellations, visit the website. We'll go into our reports. Finance report, Dana, I think we have a quarterly report that's up now.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Here are some highlights from the Quarter Two's finance reports. The township is waiting for the 2024 pension report from PMRS, which is expected by the end of August, for the full 2024 financial statements to be completed. We are confident that we will meet the charter's deadline of September 30th. Current revenue year-to-date in our general fund is $2,222,345, which is 54% of anticipated budget. Real estate collections total $1,838,968, which equates to 94% of total budgeted revenue, which is in line with the same time as prior year. Permanent revenues from Encompass Health and increase in mechanical permits with our codes department make up for the slight increase in revenue. Current operating expenditures year-to-date is $2,121,550, which is 51% of anticipated budget. As noted in Quarter One's finance report, our Public Works Department expenditures are currently in excess due to weather-related storm coverage. The township's finance and public works departments are diligently working to maintain budget expectations while continuing to perform the necessary maintenance and repairs needed throughout the township relating to equipment, property, roads, and stormwater infrastructure. The final annual compliance report for the fiscal recovery funds was submitted in April, confirming that all ARPA funds were obligated by December 31st, 2024, with funds being expended by fiscal year end of 2026. The township allocated 8 projects, 4 are completed, 3 are in progress, and 1 is in post-construction. The estimated cost of these projects is $1.7 million, and of the $1,882,968 that was awarded. The remaining funds will be utilized to offset the cost of stormwater management to be completed this year. There are 6 grant and intergovernmental funded capital projects with the original project budget of $9,515,384 with year-to-date reimbursement of $816,750. The township has 13 capital projects in progress with year-to-date cost of $3.2 million. Projects are over budget are the roundabout for Smithbridge Road right-of-ways related to cost of engineering, legal, and acquisitions, and the Smithbridge Park Master Plan improvements due to change orders related to additional parking and ADA work. The township has 18 sewer capital projects in progress with year-to-date cost of $2.5 million. Concord Wood Pump Stations was over budgeted due to upgrades to the pump station and as a result of emergency where pumps had to be rented in order to keep the station online. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Next is Public Safety. Vanita?
Thank you, Mr. President. Today we have Lieutenant Holstein, who is here to give us a short PSP report.
Welcome.
Good evening. Members of council, thank you for having me. My name is Lieutenant Jim Holstein. I took over the station command and the media barracks in February of this year. So I'm just giving you a brief breakdown of some of the calls for service we had in the month of June. There were a total of 412 calls for service in the month of June in Concord Township. 34 of them were motor vehicle crashes. There were approximately 26 property crimes. Predominantly, the property crimes consisted of retail thefts. There was 1 commercial business that was burglarized during the month, and that's an active investigation assigned to our criminal investigation unit. Other than that, there was basically general calls for service outside of that. And for your own information, we have named a new community service officer. He will be stepping into that role in July 19th. Trooper David Wynn will be assigned, so I will make sure you all have his contact information. So for any future needs, but feel free to reach out to me or Trooper Wynn after July 19th.
Perhaps we can get him to one of our future meetings after he gets settled in.
Yes,
Okay,
he will
please.
definitely be in a future meeting.
Okay,
Yes, and if you want, we can set up a meeting prior to.
okay. Benita?
All right.
Do you have any tips for our residents, especially based on what we have the most number of events amongst all the listed incidents?
Ideally, if they think something suspicious or out of the norm for their daily day-to-day activities, notify us. There's nothing, it's our job to come out and investigate. So if something seems out of the norm to you, please let us know, because we can't deal with something we don't know about. So that would probably be my best advice. If it's suspicious to you, you should be calling us and letting us come out and determine what's happening.
Okay,
Thank
thank you,
you.
I appreciate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Benita, do you have anything else as part of your report?
That's
Sure,
all
go
for
right
the
ahead,
report.
please. That's it? Oh, okay. Open space, park, and trails.
Thank you, Mr. President. For June, happy to report that the Race for the Watershed raised over $17,000 for the Newland Grist Mill, which is very exciting. We had a successful open house on Juneteenth at the Spring Valley AME Church. And the farmers market, as you noted, you enjoyed it, and apparently everyone else did too. It's been very successful, and we're extending it through the rest of the summer. So it was originally planned just for the month of June, but now it's extended through August 31st on Sunday mornings from 9 to 12 at the Township Park. There will not be a market, I should note, this weekend due to the holiday weekend. We will be having a grand opening and ribbon cutting ceremony at Beaver Valley Park on Beaver Valley Road sometime this summer as that project comes to a close and we're ready to open the park. There are still some spots available for our summer camp held at the Township Park and Rachel Cole Library the first 2 weeks of August.
Thank you. Sewer and Public Works, Mr. Gillespie.
Yes, regarding the sewer operations report, staff has checked and maintained all pump stations 3 times a week. They've operated and maintained both sewer plants daily, and they're working with the Public Works Department clearing sewer easements, and also maintenance and repair work in the different pump stations throughout the township. And the staff will be painting and cleaning all of the pump stations. Regarding Public Works, Smithbridge Park entrance, staff completed a full overhaul of the park entrance, including new plants, boulders, landscape fabric, and mulch. Road repairs, staff completed many pothole repairs throughout the township. And again, on Smithbridge Park, the dog park gardens have undergone a full restoration, including weed removal, old mulch removal, installation of new fabric, removal of select older plants, and fresh mulch and bush trimming. That's the end of my report.
Thank you. Building and Code Enforcement, Colleen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Month to date for June, we've issued 120 permits, and that's 572 permits processed year to date for 2025. 11 certificates of occupancy were issued in June. We have 59 final COs in the Spring Lake development by Pulte on Route 202. The Encompass project, the decking is complete and they are starting the interior framing. We have 1 final CO issued to orthopedic specialist, and new businesses that are coming into the area that are either under construction or permitting include Extra Space Storage, Celebree School, The Learning Experience, S2 STEM Childcare, J Crew at the Town Center, Rejuve Pod at the Town Center, Ombre Spray Tan, Ryan's Rise Up Cafe on Evergreen Drive, and LL Bean will be moving into the Staples. That is my report, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
Planning Commission, Larry.
Yes, Concord Township Planning Commission activities for June. Looks like they were ready for a nice, easy month. The Planning Commission meeting for June 9th and June 16th were both canceled. They currently have no new projects. And as stated earlier, the agenda meeting will be on July 14th and the public meeting will be held on the 21st. That's it for planning.
Okay, we have no solicitor's report. The solicitor is not with us this evening. Township Engineer, Nate Klein.
Sure, only 2 non-agenda items. First, we did get our submission into PennDOT for the Arley grant yesterday. That is a request for $250,000 to replace and upgrade specific cameras along the 202 corridor. Again, we're always looking for ways to keep that corridor running smoothly. Every incremental improvement has benefits. We have notified both PennDOT, and we're going to notify Representative Williams' office for some support for that grant. Second is the road program has been awarded to A.F. Damon. We are working through the final approvals with PennDOT. Actually, one item on the agenda tonight is the last piece of information we need. Once PennDOT approves that within the next week, we will get that on the schedule with A.F. Damon, amongst some other projects in Delaware County.
Okay. Township Manager, Amanda.
Okay, after
Thank you.
tonight's certificate of recognition for the fire company, as the daughter of a fire marshal, I would be remiss if I did not give a special thank you to that group. I want to thank our fire marshal, Bob Vasic, and our deputy fire marshals, Mark Calvecchio and Austin Turner, for their dedication and expertise in investigating fire incidents. Their thorough work ensures the safety of our community and helps prevent future risks. We truly appreciate their commitment and professionalism, and a lot of times those folks don't always get the thank yous, and they spend a lot of hours helping to keep everybody safe. So I just wanted to make sure I gave a special thank you to them
Okay.
after that. Thanks.
Thank you. Citizen comment, anyone with any comments before the township regarding any issue in the township or something on the agenda? Bill, you had something? Come on up, please.
My name is Bill Manella. This is Barbara Waters. I am the township resident and the secretary of the Gherkins Pickleball Group. Barbara's the president. And we wanted to express our gratitude to the township in supporting the group, particularly with the wind nets that have just been placed. They made quite a difference noticeable difference to the players. Not to me, didn't make me any better.
Try.
But we just wanted to give you this little display.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you. Oh, so nice.
The pictures before and after, and a lot of the township residents as well as the Gherkins.
Well, thank you.
That's so nice.
Yeah, anytime you have
you.
something like that, come to the meeting anytime you want. Okay. Henry, did you have something? Henry and I go way back.
Two problems. One, the old
Yeah.
problem.
We need your name for the record. Name
forgot
and address.
You have Alzheimer's there or what? Henry Heinz, 57 Mount Airy Farm Road, Glen Mills. Okay, the two problems are, I mentioned this a year ago, exiting the States of Garnet Valley, sign, notice, no left turn on Hibbett Road. They don't stop. They keep going out. What's made it worse is now these grass catchers that mow the lawn, have the trailers behind, they're going out that way. Making a left, a wide turn, you're coming up there, you're going to hit them. They don't stop. They just raise their hand and say, no, sorry, don't understand, I'm sorry. But they keep doing UPS, FedEx, they all go out that way.
You mean it's at Station Road?
Yeah.
Right, right where it meets
That's what
Station.
I was just,
Okay, well, I haven't been out there in a while. Let me go take a look at it.
Well, when school was going, it was really bad.
Okay.
But right now, it's bad because of the mowers and everything else.
All right.
And then, here's the next problem. The development, those streets are only like 22 feet wide.
The
Okay?
ones in the Toll Brother development?
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
okay.
narrow. But that was made for no parking on the streets. I'm pretty sure it's against the code. There should be some type of
We'll have to
code.
look into that. I'm not
Pardon me?
exact, I don't know for sure, but we can check that out while we're doing it.
There's got to be something, because now, it used to be just one or two neighbors would park out there. Now you got like 7 or 8,
Okay.
and when they park one across the street from the other,
Really
only
chokes
one
down,
car can go
chokes down the
through,
driveway.
and you got to watch that you don't hit the other car.
Okay.
And it's getting kind of really rough to drive around in there, that
Nate,
development.
Nate, is that are they public roads? in
Yeah,
there?
those are township roads, so I don't recall that project having a restriction on parking, but it is a township road, so that's something we could do per resolution or ordinance if
May-
it was needed. So I'll probably do is get with Bob Vasic, the fire marshal, we'll take a look at that.
There's got to be something,
Okay.
because the road's a narrow road. It's not a normal street where, it's like 40 feet wide. It's
Okay.
only 20 feet wide.
Yeah. All right. Just gave Nate something to do before the holiday.
Pardon me?
Gave Nate something to do. He just got back from vacation. He was looking for something to
I
do.
think Nate's getting tired of looking at me. That's it, I'm done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Gene, welcome.
Gene Gold, 7 Quaker Lane. A couple questions on tonight's agenda.
Sure.
Scott Road traffic calming.
Mhm.
Looks like that was looked into because of concerns regarding speeding and cut-throughs.
Right.
Did the engineer find any evidence?
We're going to get into it later in the agenda. He has 3 recommendations for council
Yeah,
to
yes.
consider. We have not
All right.
discussed them.
All right.
I think
see
one was the
report.
cul-de-sac,
Yep.
one was
right.
one-way, and I forget what the last one was.
Okay, I got that. I see the report was attached, which is very nice, so we know
Okay.
what the discussion is. Few comments. The report reads as though concerns are raised by residents, plural. To my knowledge, it's only the one property,
Okay.
maybe multiple residents in that one property. I've not seen speeding or cutting through of any substance, although there are problems with that road. The radius curve where that property's driveway is off of is a blind curve. The entire Scott Road is shrinking because it's not very well maintained, right? The edges are being taken back by nature. So on that blind curve, which is also full of potholes, so you really can't drive more than 10 miles an hour anyhow. So, yeah, something needs to be done. Either you need to maintain the roads or one way would also work on the in towards Route 1.
Yeah, I think I read that earlier today, and I think they were just recommendations. No decision has been made.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your comments because you live on
Okay.
that road.
I'm sorry, just to clarify, do you prefer, if there was a preference, the one-way towards Baltimore Pike or from Baltimore Pike?
Which towards Baltimore Pike. That's, hardly anybody comes the other way.
I just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, right. It could only be that direction.
Yeah, towards Baltimore Pike is.
Correct, is the only logical.
Appreciate the feedback,
And
thank
it
you.
would also have to be just the portion past Hannum's property.
That's kind of what we were thinking, yeah.
All right.
If that is cheaper to the township than maintaining the road as 2 lanes, whichever is the
That's-
least expensive, I don't care.
That's part of the issue, yeah.
You know, like, for instance, the cul-de-sac is obvious that cost is going to far exceed maintenance in perpetuity. All right, my other question, 804 Concord Road update. No details, so I'm going to assume you're going to discuss the Christmas massacre at that property?
804 Concord. Aiello? Christmas?
Yes. Yes.
I
Later
don't
on
know.
in the
You don't
agenda.
recall the Christmas massacre?
No.
The township took his property 2 days before Christmas?
Oh.
10 years ago?
I
Are we
just,
considering returning it to them because their violations resulting in the taking of the property aren't as bad as many other violations that,
I cannot comment on that. I'll defer that to our solicitor.
okay, so what is the?
All
why is it
we're
on-
doing tonight is we were going to memorialize the agreements we have with the County of Delaware and the school district to waive the penalties on the taxes owed, and we were going to direct the solicitor to come up with a plan to get rid of the property. That's all we're doing tonight.
To get rid of.
Sell the property. We don't want
Oh,
the property.
All right, so you're not giving it back to the owner?
If that's an option, I'll let I'm not a lawyer. I'll defer to the lawyer on that.
So waiving the taxes.
No, they did not waive the taxes.
Oh,
They
you're
waived the
considering-
penalties.
That's what you're talking about.
We're considering waiving the penalties on the real estate taxes for the time that the township owned it.
Have real estate taxes on land you own?
No, it was prior to that, Amanda.
I think, no, I just want to clarify. So at the time that all of that happened, there were previous penalties owed by the owner that did not get settled during that time. And that became a part of what we had to deal with when that property by judgment was given to the township due to the amassing of fines and issues there. I wasn't here, I'm saying this. So that's what that is relating to. The school district and the county waived the penalty, not the owed tax, because that was not paid out by that owner previously.
So is it theoretically owned by Concord Township, or who?
It
It is owned by Concord Township.
Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily, I presume that doesn't mean you're inheriting those unpaid taxes, does it?
Yes, because it didn't
There were liens
settle.
against the property when we bought it, when we got it.
So I presume you're aware of that when you bought it, so, or did you really buy
Well,
it? You took it in
Yes.
exchange for it.
I think you might have this conversation would be better held with our solicitor. Because the idea was, if you remember, it was quite an eyesore. There were cars in the front yard, everything else going on. And I know
Not
you're
as
going to make a
bad as
parallel to
Year and a
something
Half at
else.
Target or lots, okay,
But anyway,
understand.
but I don't think it's one and the same. And our plan is to, John, is to rid ourselves, so you were going to say something? I'm just going to get out of this
Yeah, no, I was just
conversation.
going to say
You
that
wanna
the
something? I'm
objective
gonna
is,
ask you about
no one's making money off of this. It's to sell the property for the purposes of satisfying the outstanding taxes while we have secured waiver of the penalties in the interim. So it's as straightforward as that.
Guess you could have done it 10 years ago and the penalties would have been less. Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Oh, real quick.
Yeah.
Thank you for the state police showing up. In the future, like when you have something you expect to be confrontational, like last month, that might have been a good time to plan for this.
I'll take that under advisement. Thank you. Good point, good point. Moving on with the agenda. First part of the agenda is the consent agenda. We would be approving the council public meeting minutes of June 3rd, 2025. Dana, we have some bills to pay.
Sure, thank you, Mr. President. So total expenditures is $849,837.64, and that consists of June payroll, which is $214,184.09. Current bills is $418,077.54, and our sewer bills at $217,576.01.
Okay. John, Mr. Gillespie, we have some certificates of payments and financial releases.
Yes, we do. Certificates for payment. First one is payment number 3, which is a final payment to Albert Cipollini and Sons for Evergreen Drive and Spring Valley improvements in the amount of $24,713.83. And the next one is certificate number 3 for $151,319.79 to JNS Paving and Excavating for the Beaver Valley Park. The third one would be number 4, which is a final payment for the Community Center Fire Suppression System to Guy M. Cooper Incorporated in the amount of $15,422.50. And we also have a financial release, number 1, for Orchard Knoll, the sewer portion of Orchard Knoll only, $131,196.60.
We also have an application for review, a conditional use for outdoor dining at Ryan's Rise Up Cafe, 5 Evergreen Drive, Suite 100. I think, Amanda, you mentioned that as part of the new businesses coming to Concord Township. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I so moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Before we vote, John, you were going to say something?
I would be recusing myself on the June payroll only because my grandson is a seasonal part-time employee with Public Works for the summer session.
So we have a motion and a second. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay, ARPA updates. Nate or Amanda, whatever you got.
Yeah, really just probably 2 brief updates. One, that was the final payment for the Evergreen project, so that closes that one out. Second, the Newland Way Basin retrofit project is underway. It's been going for about a week or 2. So again, continuing to cross those projects off the list.
Okay. Amanda, you have anything to add?
No,
Perfect.
I can move on to the next one if you're ready. I was just gonna move to
Octorara
the next
Trail update.
Yeah, so we are just continuing to work through the right-of-way acquisition process. We've met with owners. We're working with the assessors that are required by the state to go out and assess the various easements. So we're moving through that, and we're hoping to have things tied up by the end of summer potentially, with agreements or waivers from all the parties. Thanks.
Okay. PennDOT, traffic calming request. I think this has to do with the Scott Road that was just mentioned.
Yeah, sure. Mr. Goebel stole my thunder here, so, but I think he actually helped facilitate here because based on his opinion, frankly, I think that kind of maybe gets me right to the end. You know, we did get a request from one of the neighbors on that street, and I apologize, maybe it wasn't plural. I'll check if we have any other complaints. But, you know, we just wanted to look at kind of all the options there. And one of the issues with Scott Road over the year, this has bounced around over the years. It's a decent stretch of road that needs some significant maintenance and money thrown at it. But for the volume of traffic, it gets very challenging to justify. And I don't want to say that as a negative to any taxpayer that lives on that road, but the value proposition for that type of road gets very challenging. So I feel like what happens is every year we kind of bounce around, we should do something different, cul-de-sac, whatever, and we never really make a final decision. Amanda was kind of suggesting, let's put a pin on this or at least figure something out here. So we did look at a few options, cul-de-sac possibly, which was intriguing, but certainly going to be complicated in many ways. Speed humps are always an option. Again, we don't love them, they're not that successful. Is it going to make a huge dent there? One-way traffic flow is the one that was kind of the most intriguing to us. But we do feel like that was something that needed some public input, and getting Mr. Goebel's input tonight gives me a little bit more confidence that maybe that's something we can maybe move a little forward as at least a discussion item of, hey, what would that look like? What might it cost? Outreach to maybe the community there, including his cul-de-sac, Quaker Lane. And I think really was looking forward to maybe the green light to say, hey, let's investigate that a little further. That might be the best of these possible options. And, you know, maybe come to another meeting in the future with a little bit more of a robust recommendation. Otherwise, you know, we can always do the standard quote-unquote, you know, signage improvements, things like that, as well as consider just standard road repairs in the future as a future road program. But again, I think if we were to look at it from a one-way perspective, you know, again, we'd want to talk to the neighbors, fire marshal, we notify Newland Gristmill, PICO, you know, bounce that around a little bit before we would make a recommendation to council.
Would one of the recommendations with regard to one-way be to allow it to be two-way for the property owner at the very end of the road near Baltimore Pike?
Well, yeah, when we say one-way, I should be more clear. So I forget the name of the property there, but the homeowner there with like the pond tennis court situation is probably either somewhere there or over by Quaker is somewhere we'd have to make a decision where it's the two-way ends and the one-way might begin. How do we sign that? What does it look like? And then, yeah, at the other end, for the resident that's closest to Baltimore Pike, he gets impacted because of where he can travel. So again, we're gonna need some buy-in from everybody, but you know, that's gonna be kind of part and parcel is, are people speeding, is there cut through traffic? Well, everyone's gonna have to have a little bit of a change in how that road works to maybe solve some of those issues. So a little bit more to investigate.
Yeah, Mr. President, after reading Mike Schneider's memo, just like to make a few comments. I'm very familiar with Scott Road. I go there often. Some great suggestions here, but I think, I know personally, I would need more information. I would like to see some additional data collection, maybe a sketch plan, and a cost estimate. So if we can have the engineer do that, I know from myself, I would like more information before we can make a decision. I would like to have our engineer do that, get some more data collection, maybe a sketch plan or two, and give us an idea of cost.
Would it be, I echo that to a certain degree. I would like to see maybe some budget numbers on how much each one costs before we spend money on sketch plans.
Yeah, I think we've actually even sketched out some cul-de-sac options historically. Again, this has kind of bounced around for years. But I think we can throw some numbers at it fairly quickly with some of the pros and cons of each, just to give you guys a little bit more to chew on. But, good.
With regard to the trail usage and the connection between the township municipal complex and the Newland Gristmill, do we have any sense of how much that's used, or if the Gristmill wants to sort of enhance that as a sort of connection and entrance to the Gristmill?
I don't believe it gets a ton of usage. I know a few people have mentioned it to me over the years. I think what we do is probably touch base with Tony and the team at the Gristmill. You know, I know they are always a little cautious. That's kind of their back door. It doesn't have a set of eyes on it, so they're always a little bit cautious. And even when we did that, it took some time to kind of broach that with them and get that across. So I think we'd have to, talk to them about that as well.
Yeah, a few years ago, we did meet with the grist mill on that subject exactly, and they were not ready to make a determination as far as connecting the two venues, so.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing tonight then is we'll take this memo, drill down maybe just a little bit further on just some costs and some numbers, a little bit more maybe pros and cons to help maybe tee up a little bit better, decision-making process for council on how to maybe move forward.
So Nate, how long will that take to get back to us?
It depends if Mike Schneider's on vacation or not, but I'll have it for either the August or the September meeting, probably August.
I thought he couldn't go away because you were away.
Nate, I was also wondering, the additional signage, the last option, is there signage currently up, and we just need to add additional signage?
Yeah, actually, I don't think there's much at all, if any, Colleen, very limited. But I think if we're going to investigate these things further, I would just give it another month before we pull the trigger on any signage just yet. Because, again, depending on which direction we go, we might be able to do that all at one fell swoop.
I think at one point is there still a sign that says like dead end or road closed or?
That's a long story that we're going to not discuss.
So that's okay. I just wasn't sure if that was.
Moving right along, number 5, PennDOT request for traffic signal modifications at 322. Nate?
Yes. So again, complaints we continue to receive on the 322 corridor. I believe there's an email summary here in your packet. Short version is the request is to approach PennDOT about revisiting left turn arrows at several intersections along 322 for anybody that uses that corridor. Both the Fellowship Station Road intersection as well as the Evergreen Drive intersection. You get stuck at red left turns and you can't go left on those reds. Looking to convert those to the yellow flasher bulbs to get more traffic moving in some of those areas. Those two intersections we just get complaints on a regular basis, including our sewer team who's right there at that one intersection all the time.
And people are running them.
Yeah, again, I'd like to speak a little bit about this. I'm at that intersection at least daily. And I realize there is a problem there. And after reading Schneider's memorandum, the closure was advised if the township would like us to reach out to PennDOT, and I'm a definite yes on that. I would like to see something happen there.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll see what they say. Look, we did reach out to them way back when 322 construction ended, and they said no at that time, but we think it's time to revisit.
Everybody in agreement with that?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Just one sort of related note to traffic concerns, not on 322, but on Baltimore Pike, traveling northbound towards Media. There's no clear way for any motorist to access Chick-fil-A or Texas Roadhouse and those businesses on the north side of the road because of restricted U-turns or lack of turn lanes and so forth. And so I don't know if there's some way that we can look to create the opportunity for patronage of the north side of Route 1, perhaps with adding the second turn lane at Evergreen, which is already spaced in but not signaled or striped. I know that you've mentioned previously that PennDOT was not in favor of that doing that from a cost perspective from themselves, but could we see what the cost would be for us to do it, as it would enhance that area?
You're correct. We have the lanes striped out. It was kind of quasi always intended for that. We've tried to, I think over the years, we've tried to apply for grants here and there, but PennDOT's never pulled the trigger on that. So we could, I think the next step would just be like, what would that cost?
I remember when they repaved the road, we asked them to make that a double left because of the 4 movements there, that is the only one that doesn't have a double left.
Yeah.
So they said no. So next time you're talking to them.
Well, I think what we'll do is I want to take a look at what those costs might be.
Yeah.
I don't think PennDOT's going to do it. We would have to do it.
Probably just getting rid of the white and striping.
It's the
masthead
mast arm and the signal in my head I think are the potential issues.
More to follow, correct?
Yes. Okay, we'll look into that. It's good to go. Okay.
Okay. Number 6 is regarding 804 Concord Road, which I think we discussed as part of the public comment. Amanda, I'm wondering if we just need a motion to direct the solicitor to start the start whatever needs to be done in order to figure out how to
Sure, that's
get
fine. I
that
know
on the
we've done it
market.
in the past, we've brought this up multiple times, but I would say, sure, do it again
Okay.
since we now have the school district 2 had.
Is there a motion to?
I'd like to make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Item number 7 is to reaffirm a resolution we did last month regarding to the township taking land via eminent domain for recreational purposes and authorizing the taking of a portion of the Lock J property for the Smithbridge Road roundabout and multi-purpose trail. We did handle this at the June meeting. However, I think there was a technical error or confusion in the addresses, so this basically is going to replace
The
that.
folio and everything was correct, yeah. it
Okay,
was just-
so need a motion again.
So the bottom line there is that what we did last month
It's a correction.
You're just
stays-
reaffirming
was
it.
a minor correction.
Yes.
And we don't really need the property because the homeowner agreed to the resolution.
Pretty much, but you still have to reaffirm this, make sure it's correct. The folio and everything was correct on the on the one that you did previously.
Motion to do so? John?
Yes, I make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nate, this next one, I think you and I had talked on the phone. It's an intermunicipal agreement for Matson Road paving. If I understand, we are paving part of Matson Road is our project.
Correct.
And Chester Heights has asked us if we would do about 100 feet of theirs, and then they will pay us at the same per yard rate that the contractor is charging us now for our
Exactly right.
work.
Yep.
And I think, John, probably in your experience, this has been done in other instances.
Absolutely. It's the
Okay.
right, it's
Yeah,
the
we
right
did-
thing to do.
We did it on Andrew Road maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Okay,
actually.
so is there a motion to approve Resolution 31 of 2025? Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you for coming out this evening.
47.